But Celia was becoming concerned that Ecce Homo, translated as Behold the Man, was flaking away from the damp church air and urgently required her art restoration skills. The result was pretty dramatic.
Jesus!
Just before we get started, I do want to say that this video is brought to you by our friends over at Squarespace. Look, if you've got an idea for any sort of thing you want to do on the internet that involves a website, this could be a blog, maybe a politics blog so you can annoy all your friends, or maybe a blog that someone actually wants to read, or you could do a shop. You can start a shop with Squarespace. It has e-commerce tools that make it possible for you to sell stuff through your website. So maybe you're like, I'm going to make little plastic plants. This is a terrible example, but if you have a good idea for a business, you can use Squarespace to make a website for that business a possibility. Also with Squarespace, what's particularly great, what I like, is they have all of these beautiful templates. So I remember making websites back in the day, like computer club in secondary school or high school, and it would be like HTML, and you'd use like Notepad, and it would be extremely complicated, and then you'd have like an ugly color in the background, and it was horrible. Nowadays, you get a Squarespace account, you go in, and it's just, there's a bunch of beautiful templates. What I did to make my own website is I just scrolled through, I found one that I liked, and I was like, let's make that look as if it's for me. And you can do all this cool stuff. Like one thing I did on the homepage of my personal website was I put one of my backgrounds. One of the backgrounds of like the homepage of my website is a YouTube video that plays in the background, and it's all blurred out. So it kind of just looks like a cool background, and it's telling you, look, Simon makes videos. So you can do all kind of cool stuff like that. It doesn't require any design skills, so don't worry about that. I have none, and my website still looks good because I just chose a nice looking template and customized it. But if you do have design skills, well, go for it. It's super customizable, so you can make it look however you want it to look. And once you're up and running, there's loads of extra features that exist so your site can thrive. You can do member areas, email campaigns, collect donations, social sharing, analytics, blogging tools, everything you need in one place. Plus, also, the support's really good. It's so easy to use that I don't think you'll need support. But if you do, it's there. It's very helpful. And it's just all very easy to get up and running with Squarespace. So, when you are ready to get started with Squarespace, all you need to do is go to squarespace.com/blaze, and you'll get 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. Again, squarespace.com/blaze, 10% off a website or a domain. Thank you, Squarespace, for supporting. And now today's video. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Brain Blaze. As ever, I'm your host, Simon. Welcome to the show. Keep calm, blaze on. If you'd like to purchase some merch, go to purchasethemerch.co. There's probably going to be a link below. Getting the plugs in early because that's the most valuable content that everyone comes here for. What happens here? Danny writes me a script. I am going to read it. Never read it before. It's a brand new experience. And then Sam afterwards is going to add in some of the finest memes that you have ever seen. Today we're talking expensive doodles, accidental art criminals. I'm pretty sure this was inspired by that dude who he was like a security guard in some German museum or something. He just got bored, so he started doodling a face on one of the pictures. It's like, what have you done? That's like millions of euros in paintings, and you're just like, you smoking crack?
Exactly. Yes, I have smoked crack cocaine.
Your first day on a new job can always be a bit nerve-wracking, but what's the worst that can happen? My most disastrous first day in a new job was at a branch of Tesco, where my bell-end manager, Trevor, gave me the wrong directions to the staff room, and I accidentally opened the fire door, setting off the emergency security alarm and sending the whole supermarket into a blind panic for several minutes. Danny, did Trevor really give you the wrong directions to the staff room, or did you accidentally get it wrong? Because I feel like Trevor's been there for a while. I'm going to say it's Trevor's fault because I know how you feel about Trevor, but I'm doubting your story, Danny. I'm pretty sure I've told this story before because I've told all of my good stories, and this isn't even a good one. So maybe I haven't told this one before.
I'm going to say this as Christian as I can. You just talk too damn much.
When I started, it wasn't the first day on the job, but months went by of one of the other people there, like one of the other colleagues at the supermarket or whatever. He just let me believe that he was my boss. Months went by, and eventually I confronted him and was like, wait a minute, are you not my boss? And he was like, no, I'm not your boss. And I'm like, so why have you been telling me what to do? And he's like, I just never told you. I wasn't your boss. And I'm like, what the dude? But it was fine. I didn't really care.
Got him!
It was actually quite amusing in retrospect. He always had it in for me after that. Try learning how to give even vaguely accurate directions, you enormous bellend. At least I didn't have the kind of first day in the job where you accidentally make international news, get accused of defacing a work of art worth nearly $1 million, and face a potential prison sentence of 3 months. Why is like, did no one tell you? I feel like I know what we're talking about here because it's the security guard. He gets the job. Let's just let Danny tell the story because otherwise I'm going to spoil it. I'm sorry. I know what I'm doing. I got to read the script. All right, let's go.
But if you're talking, even if I have something good to say, if I can't get it in.
Yeah.
Who could be that unlucky? 63-year-old Russian Alexander Vasilev had served as a senior lieutenant in the armed forces and had seen action in the First Chechen War during the 1990s. But he was clearly fancying a change of pace at the end of 2021 and actually picked up a new job as a security guard for his very first shift. The private firm had posted Alexander to the Yeltsin Center in the city of Yekaterinburg, which was hosting an exhibition under the thrilling title of The World as Non-Objectivity, the Birth of a New Art. I don't know, some stuff's really cringe. Like, I like art. Like, I really do. Like, I like going to art galleries and looking at stuff and being all like, that's interesting. But also some stuff, I go there, especially like modern art, and you go in there and you're like, yeah, but what is this? It's bad. And someone's like, well, that's worth £100 million because it's painted by someone called Rothko. And you're like, it's a big red square with a slightly darker band of color on the bottom. And I'm like, it's like, I could do that. I could. I'm not even joking. The exhibition included vintage examples of celebrated Soviet-era art, including paintings of, I don't know, AK-47s and Gulag prison camps and Tetris and dead dogs in space, presumably. One particular painting of it generously loaned by the State Tretyakov Gallery in Moscow. 3 figures painted in the 1930s by Anna Lepeskaya, a student of the pioneering avant-garde artist Kazimir Malevich.
Who are you?
The simple painting depicts 3 torsos and heads with no facial features whatsoever. This was possibly some kind of social commentary on the erosion of identity, or it could just be that Anna couldn't paint proper faces. Yeah, that's what I'd say. It's like, why is your art a bit shit, Whistler? And I'd be like, it's an expression of how I feel about the direction of society in a post-directionless world thought police.
You see what I'm saying? You got to think, partner. You don't want to...
What the fuck are you talking about?
And it'll just be like some squiggles, and people are like, oh, Johnny good. I agree. Thought police, yes. It's not just because I'm shit, and I can't draw, like, and I can't paint like Dali. But the art world appeared to admire the faceless bodies as the picture had a value just shy of $1 million US. Sadly, although isn't art all super highly valued because it's just used for crime? I think I saw a YouTube video about this where some dude was like, yeah, basically the art world is like just for like laundering money and for like drugs. It's like, oh my god. I mean, allegedly, don't sue me, art world in general. But it's like a way of hiding money and laundering money, I thought.
Those are illegal!
Sadly, when the Yeltsin Center sheepishly handed back the painting to the State Tretyakov Gallery, it wasn't in quite the same condition that they'd received it in. It's a bit like that time my dog Poppy caught a neighbor's chicken and ragged it to bits. I felt a bit silly standing on the doorstep of the deeply unimpressed neighbor to hand back the mutilated chicken. What else are you supposed to do? I don't know, Danny, just pop to Tesco and buy a chicken. Like, be like, well, you were going to eat it anyway, weren't you? Or like, if they were using it for eggs, just buy them like one of those big things of eggs, you know, the double stacked one with like 100 eggs. I mean, that's what, like 3 months of chickens? That's enough. That's enough. Just do that. Maybe you get them both. It's probably going to cost you like 20 quid. But then you'll at least be like, here's something. I got you the chicken meat and the eggs. Normally you wouldn't get both. So, win-win.
And modern problems require modern solutions.
With hindsight, maybe I should have at least offered a bag of frozen roast potatoes and a tub of gravy granules to go with it. Yes, also possible. In this case, some uncultured hooligan had taken it upon themselves to draw eyes on the blank faces in ballpoint pen. Who does this? Staff at the Yeltsin Center initially assumed that the damage had been inflicted by a mischievous visitor, but the CCTV footage later revealed an entirely different picture. The hooligan in question was the new security guard, Alexander Vasilev. Initial media reports suggested that Alexander had grown a bit bored on his first day and had idly doodled on the painting during a quiet moment to help alleviate the tedium. That is a dude, if I've ever seen one, who needs to have whatever those drugs they put ADHD people on. He needs that. If you're so bored on your first day that you deface $1 million painting, it's like, holy shit, you need that Ritalin or cocaine, depending on how bad it is. But the curator, Anna Reshkina, was likely to be close to the mark when she later declared, his motives are still unknown, but the administration believes it was some kind of lapse in sanity. You see, it turns out that Alexander had issues. During his time serving in the Chechen War, for which he received a medal for bravery, Alexander endured gunshot wounds and sustained injuries to his hands, legs, and lungs. He was also just one of 4 soldiers from his 36-soldier unit to survive the war. Oh my god, you know it's intense when that's the kind of survival figures. Good lord. And now it seems like Russia wants more of that shit. Brilliant.
I know how it is when you're getting old, and you start getting aggressive because your dick doesn't work the way it used to.
Duh.
But just because our dicks don't work doesn't mean we should go back to the way things were.
His wife claimed that his physical and mental state had been damaged by military service, and some of the paintings in that exhibition had left a depressing impression on him. But he was also apparently egged on by a couple of teenage girls visiting the gallery who were complaining that the Three Figures painting looked a bit crap and unfinished. What's going on? Can you imagine just being like looking at the scene? It's like a couple of girls like, "Hey, security man, can we draw on the painting?" And he's like, "No, I got that. I'm the security job. It's the guard. It's my job, if it's anyone's job, to draw on the paintings, okay, children? Now get out." One of them handed Alexander a Yeltsin Center branded pen and urged him to draw some eyes on the expressionless faces on the grounds that he had the right because he worked there. Alexander later claimed to the press that he believed the painting had been created by the girls. He said, "If only I knew..." Did I just read that? He believed that the painting was created by these teenage girls who were visiting the museum and handing him a ballpoint pen to draw a face on it, my dude. I know he's because of the war. War is horrible and it ruins people, but still.
Why are you the way that you are?
He said, "If only I knew this was not children's art and they brought it from Moscow and it cost so much. What a fool I am. What have I done?" Fortunately, the damage may not be too bad as the soft strokes from the ballpoint pen didn't penetrate the paint layer. The insurance company coughed up $2,500 for restorative work at a hospital for poorly paintings in Moscow, which will hopefully restore blindness to the sighted. Ha 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 ha. Oh, laughs in Russian. But the Ministry of Culture called for a full police investigation. Alexander could potentially be looking at either a substantial fine or a 3-month stint in the gulag. Russia doesn't have gulag still, do they?
Duh.
I mean, maybe they're coming back. Holy Russia, what are you up to? Shit. Let's hope the authorities aren't too tough on Alexander, though he already lost his job as a security guard, which is probably fair enough. His second day of jolly interactive guarding must have been for an underground nuclear missile silo. But some crimes against art were of a much more damaging nature, even if many of them were entirely accidental and may even have been composed with only the best of intentions. Isn't there that? There's that one, like, this was news, like, back in the day. And it was like, some photo was on loan, and it was like scratched up or like the face was missing. So some woman who worked in the museum or at the church or something just took it home and painted a new face on. It looks, I mean, it's like she clearly can paint, but it just looks so bad compared to the original, but it's like, oh no. For example, a bunch of cleaners in 2015 thought they were just doing their damn job. The museum, is this the one where they clear away the modern art exhibition? The Museum of Contemporary Art in Bolzano, Italy, was hosting an exhibition which featured an intriguing piece by Milanese artists Sarah Goldschmidt and Eleonora Chiari.
Who are you?
The art installation, entitled "Where Shall We Go Dancing Tonight," was apparently meant to be a visual interpretation of the consumerism and wild excess of 1980s Italy, a hedonistic period in which socialist politicians allegedly spent all of their time getting wasted in 24-hour parties. What a time to be alive! And also, they had coke back then, probably lots and lots of beautiful cocaine.
Exactly.
To illustrate the point, the artists had created a physical installation which represented the morning after the night before. It consisted of 300 empty champagne bottles, a stack of cigarette butts, a load of confetti just strewn all over the floor. This sounds exactly like the sort of thing where it'd be like, I need an excuse to smoke a lot, get super drunk for months, just months, ongoing, and then call it work.
It's a bit nutty.
Right? It'd be like, actually, what I want to do is I want to decorate the back of this office with used bottles of very expensive whiskies. And that means that I have to drink all of these whiskies, but it is work because it's going to be part of this beautiful set decoration that I've got planned. But nobody told the cleaners that this was art. When they turned up for work the next morning, they just assumed that the museum curators had enjoyed another one of their late-night piss-ups and promptly cleared up all of the mess, even taking care to plop all of the different items into their respective recycling bins for glass, plastic, and paper. They'll be like, the cleaning people must be like, what the fuck are you up to? This is a wild-ass party being held at the museum, and I don't think you could smoke inside. The artists weren't very impressed. They complained to the Alto Adige newspaper. What happened was bad. It cannot be possible for an installation to end up in a rubbish bin. And I would say to that, how about you try actually creating something that people don't think is trash? Literal trash. And how about, I don't know, you learn to paint or something, or make modern art that is good. It exists. It's not what you made. But the museum didn't seem to be massively bothered, later joking to visitors that the installation had disappeared following a bit of bad luck with the new cleaning lady. Love it. Mwah. A couple of other music. Also, your piece of art is getting more PR and press than it was ever expected to get. I'm just getting set up for the ad read, and this smells so good. Now, just before we get back to today's video, I do want to say that it is brought to you by our friends over at Magic Spoon. What did Magic Spoon do? Cereal, guys, cereal. You remember what good cereal was? As a kid, you'd pour like a fat bowl of unnamed delicious cereal by unnamed large company, and you just like pour that milk in and wolf that stuff down. I'm sure I was eating like 1 million grams of sugar and like 1 million calories and all that stuff. But as a kid, it didn't matter, and it was just delicious. And then I stopped eating cereal because I became an adult, and it was like, oh my God, if you eat that much sugar, well, something bad is going to happen to your body and you're going to die young. Morbid, I know. Then Magic Spoon came along and they were like, yo, Simon, check this out. We made cereal that is delicious, first and most important thing. And second, we also made it healthy. Look, 0 grams of sugar. Four grams of... Whoops-a-daisy. 4 grams of net carbs, 14 grams of protein per serving, which is pretty amazing, and also not too many calories per serving. They say 110 calories, but it says 150 on this one, so I guess the Honey Graham is a little bit more delicious than the rest. That's not true, actually. This is my favorite one. Peanut butter is the jam. Cinnamon's also amazing. This oatmeal cookie one's new. Actually, all 3 of these are new. Maple waffle, gingerbread, oatmeal cookie. Honey Graham's also new. Sorry, the maple waffle's not new. Look, they're all extremely good. When you get your first order, and that's a when, not an if you want to support the show and be a legend, get the peanut butter and then mix it in with some other ones. I'd personally get this Honey Graham. I'd get the peanut butter and I'd get the cinnamon, and then, yeah, I'd probably throw in an oatmeal cookie. Yeah, you basically build yourself a variety box. It tastes amazing. It's keto-friendly, gluten-free, low carb. I think we covered all of this. It's just good. So all you need to do is go to magicspoon.com/blaze and you get $5 off your first order today. And it supports the show and you get some delicious cereal. Magicspoon.com/blaze. And I think there's a 100% happiness guarantee, right? So if you don't like it, they give you your money back. Is that in there? Yeah, it is. How could you possibly lose? Go try it. Thank you to Magic Spoon. And back to today's video. A couple of other museum visitors clearly had zero good intentions when they were caught goofing around in the Shanghai Museum of Glass in China in 2013. 2 very young boys visiting the museum with 2 crap adult chaperones who were presumably their mothers. The little art lovers were particularly interested in a piece called Angel is Waiting, a mounted glass sculpture of a large pair of angel wings. Oh God. Children and glass, from personal experience, I know is not a good combination. It had taken the artist Shelley Xu well over 2 years to create this masterpiece, which she had dedicated to her newborn daughter. They're just going to break it, aren't they? They're just going to knock it off the wall or some shit. Bastards. The two young kids were so appreciative of this fragile art that they ducked under the rope barriers to take a closer look, and the parents did absolutely nothing to stop them. In fact, they burst into laughter and whipped out their mobile phones to record this magical moment. Uh-oh, you're going to record your children's crimes! And the kids started gleefully pulling and poking and prodding at the glass sculpture. The CCTV footage shows that the parents finally did put their phones down when the bottom half of the sculpture was pulled away and shattered to bits on the floor. That could be one of those moments where you just, I don't know, like, yes, this is wildly irresponsible and like control your children, but you'll be like, oh, this is a cute moment. Let's get this on video. Oh, they are getting a little too close, but it's fine. I want to capture this. And then the bottom of that sculpture falls off and you're like, well, that's the bottom half, so that's at least 1 year's work. Holy shit. Faced with a split-second decision on what exactly to do when one of your kids has broken a valuable museum exhibit, the parents ultimately went with the classic run away. I mean, fair. Because in China, they'll be like, yeah, that was worth like many millions of Chinese currency. And because of that, we've decided to chop your head off. This is China. We need your organs for rich people. It was deemed impossible, allegedly, just joking. It was deemed impossible to repair the piece, and despite the CCTV footage, it doesn't sound as if the vandals were ever identified or brought to justice. Well, they were just kids. We should be bringing the parents to justice, if anyone.
We don't give a fuck! Girl, how your kids doing? Girl, fuck them kids, yeah.
However, the artist Shelley simply decided to give the remaining fragments of the sculpture the new name of Broken. I mean, fair. That's big of you. I'll be like, that took me 2 years. If all the work I did over the last 2 years, which believe me was a lot of work, was just suddenly taken away, and YouTube were like, we're deleting all of your videos from the last 2 years, I'll be like, do you know how long I spent on that? Not to mention the other guys. Poor Sam. Poor Danny.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer.
And the rebranded priest is still on display at the Shanghai Museum of Glass, where it is now accompanied by the CCTV footage of the little hooligans who broke it, played on an eternal loop to serve as a stark reminder of why visitors need to respect the art exhibits. Oh, what they should have done. They should have turned that to an NFT, shouldn't they? What a crock of shit. Oh my god, I'm glad that people are finally like... There's so much... Like, we gotta do a brain blaze about NFTs. Because, like, there's some real crazy out there. There's some real... Like, people are like, yeah, it's an NFT. Selling that. And because they're, like, some influencer or something, it sells money. It'd be like if I took a picture of Peter and sold it as an NFT. I could probably flog that for some money, which is insane, and I won't, because I'm not a piece of... Because, obviously, it's not going to be worth anything in the near future. I suppose that accidental art vandalism is slightly less incriminating if you're the owner of the art in question. In 1932, Pablo Picasso took the time to knock up a weird painting of his mistress Marie-Therese Walter, seemingly pleasuring herself for extra giggles. Yeah, but this is Picasso. It probably didn't look anything like that. It was like, what's that? It's my mistress pleasuring herself. Why does it look like a car, Picasso? No, I'm just kidding. Picasso's quite good.
It is shit, Austin.
For extra shits and giggles, the face of his mistress is tilted back in such a way that the top half resembles a massive knob. There are some, like, super famous pervy artists like Dali, Picasso, many more. Many more.
God, you're so disgusting. That's not white chocolate. That's your dick.
I know. Well, you know.
The Reeve, or The Dream, was much later snapped up at Christie's auction in 1997 for a cool, wait for it, $48.4 million by the Austrian investment banker Wolfgang Flottel. However, by 2001, Wolfgang found himself a bit short, so he sold the painting to an American casino tycoon and art collector Steve Wynn for an undisclosed sum, but reportedly in the region of $60 million. And I don't want to say it, because I'm sure it's not true in any way. But earlier on, we were just talking about, like, laundering money. And isn't it a bit weird that the people who are... I'm not saying this is true, old Wolfie and Wynn. I'm not saying that. Of course not. I would never imply this. I'm just saying that the two jobs of the people who are buying the super expensive art are banker and casino person. And I'm just saying that those are jobs that are not, according to, you know, various news things that I've read at times, they're not miles away from money laundering, are they? Exactly. I don't know. Look, it's just a bit weird, isn't it? The Reeve then looked set to break a record in 2006 when Steve Wynn announced that he was flogging the saucy painting to hedge fund billionaire Stephen Cohen for $139 million. Not $1 billion, obviously, $1 million. And look, another banking person. It's like something's up, right? Where there's smoke, there's fire. Something's up, right? Right? But this particular deal fell flat at the last minute. Shortly before the painting was due to exchange hands, Steve Wynn was taking one last opportunity to show it off for a few friends at a swanky office at the Wynn Las Vegas hotel. Now, Steve Wynn suffers from an eye disease known as retinitis pigmentosa, which affects his peripheral vision. He's also known for dramatically gesticulating with his hands. Do you want to be the dramatic gesticulator when you can't see what's going on over here? You're just like, bang, bang, just slapping people in the face. As he stood in front of the painting and began to explain the importance to his guests, he grew ever more excited with his hand gestures. He backed up a couple of steps without realizing it, and the whole room suddenly heard a terrible ripping noise. Steve had gone and shoved his elbow right through the picture, creating a coin-shaped hole, which instantly wiped off at least $40 million from its value. Well, dude, you should have sold it as an NFT, shouldn't you? You should have taken a picture of it, burned it, and then sold it as an NFT. Jesus Christ.
What an idiot! Oh, what a loser! Good. More for me and you.
One of the guests who witnessed the incident was the late screenwriter and filmmaker Nora Ephron, who revealed the initial reaction from the gesticulative art collector. He initially mumbled, "I can't believe I just did that. Oh man. Oh sh." But then he turned around and he quipped, "Well, I'm glad I did it, and not you." That is only something that a mega rich person could say. It'd be sort of like a regular rich person crashing their car and being like, "Oh man, I can't believe I crashed my car.
Oh no. Anyway, last week...
Guess I have to get a new car. I'll get something better." And not having insurance or anything like that. Just being like, it was so expensive it was uninsurable. Steve apparently then resumed his fascinating monologue on the prominence of the painting as if nothing had happened. This was naturally a bit of a deal breaker. Steve's wife cheerily suggested that maybe it was a sign that fate was warning him not to sell the painting. However, 8 years later, the deal with Steve and Cohen was back on. Steve Wynn had apparently only paid around $90,000 for the repair, but Cohen was now happy to fork out $155 million for the restored painting in 2000. $155 million for a painting! $155 million. This extraordinary amount of money. I mean, good Lord, is it an extraordinary amount of money? It can't be. There's got to be something else going on there other than it's worth that much, right? I mean, it's crazy.
It's called hentai, and it's art.
Making Larive the most expensive painting ever sold at the time. But poor old Steve Wynn seemed plagued with bad luck when it came to Picasso paintings. In 2018, put another one of the Spanish artist's paintings up for auction at Christie's. This time, it was the 1943 work Lemarium, which depicts a miserable man in a sailor's shirt sitting on a chair, apparently waiting to be sent to a concentration camp in Germany. Holy shit, got dark.
That's some pretty dark stuff.
It was expected to fetch at least $70 million at auction. However, a painter of a different kind was to leave their own distinctive mark on the masterpiece. An employee of T.F. Nugent had been hired to paint the walls of Christie's gallery, which would be displaying the artwork. How are you going to do this? Is like, there's a painting on the wall, just paint over it. The contractor left a big paint roller extension rod perched precariously against the wall before popping off for a pickled egg sandwich, and the rod was perched right next to Lemarium, which was resting on foam. Oh God, foam pads against the wall in preparation of proudly procuring placements on the professionally painted paneling. It's gonna just... Oh my God, it's so expensive. Naturally, the completely unsecured extension rod came crashing down into Lemarium, tearing a massive new 4.5-inch hole on the left-hand side of the canvas. Although Christie's paid out $500,000 to have the painting restored, it was still deemed to have lost considerable value, and the auction house agreed to pay Steve Wynn damages of $18.74 million. Holy shit, Christie's. That's expensive. I hope you had good insurance. Christie's is currently in the process of trying to get some of that dough back from the contractor T.C. Nugent, who themselves are probably pretty peeved with the clumsy painter guy. Yo, if that's the guy... Christie's, what are you doing? How much money are you possibly going to get back off the painter? It's like, he's a painter. Not like a fancy painter like the paintings you sell. He paints walls. How much money do you think he has? You're going to go, yeah, we sue him for $100,000. It's not even worth it, and $100,000 is probably devastating to him. Let's hope they let him off with a stern warning was probably his first day. Perhaps the most famous, and certainly the most comical case of accidental art vandalism, carried out with the purest of intentions, actually has a deliciously happy ending. An 81-year-old Spanish granny by the name of Celia Gimenez made national headlines in 2002 when she took it upon herself to restore a neglected work of art that had been painted onto the wall of her local church in 1930. This is the one. This is the one I know. The fresco in question, entitled Ecce Homo, was created by Las Garcia Martinez and depicted the face of Jesus wearing a crown of thorns as he waited to be crucified. It had been on display for over 70 years in the Sanctuary of Mercy Church in the little-known town of Borja in Spain, which boasts a population of less than 5,000. But Celia was becoming concerned that Ecce Homo, translated as Behold the Man, was flaking away from the damp church air and urgently required her art restoration skills. The result was pretty dramatic.
Jesus! Jesus!
After Cecilia had finished with it, the facial features of Jesus had been completely replaced by something that resembled a very crudely drawn, sad, hairy monkey. And I'm sure it's on the screen now, but it's like... So what have you done? Why? Dubbed the worst restoration in history, the fresco was rebranded by the national media as Ecce Mono, or Behold the Monkey. And the global mockery heaped upon poor Cecilia drove her into hiding for a few months, and she began taking anxiety medicine and lost over 13 pounds over fears that she might go to jail. She's 81 and was good of heart trying to restore these pictures. She's not going to jail. But she later claimed that the work was unfinished and she'd just gone on holiday for a couple of weeks only to return to a media storm. Cecilia strongly resented the implication that she was a clueless granny, as she claims to have been a keen painter of landscapes with a bit of background in art restoration. It's just that on this occasion, the paint ran a bit. You've seen the picture, right, Cecilia? Maybe just like the Soviet-era artist Anna Leposkaya, she had a bit of difficulty in doing faces. Cecilia also claimed that the restoration work was sanctioned by the parish priest, although he later denied this. Yeah, even if he sanctioned that, you'd be like, no, didn't. Definitely didn't. I would never sanction that. Please. Don't excommunicate me. The family of the original artist were horrified by the botched restoration, which was declared impossible to restore. All right, chill out. He's probably like your great-granddad. If someone was like, Simon, one of your great-granddad's paintings were ruined, I'd be like, all right.
I am going to remind you in advance that I am very sorry and I apologize for the inconvenience of me not giving up.
My great-granddad wasn't an artist. I'm just saying if he was. They initially demanded that the church cover up the fresco as it was damaging the honor of the Martinez family, and they threatened both the church and Cecilia with legal action. But here is the funny thing. The worst restoration in history ended up putting the little town of Borja on the map. The town usually only attracted about 6,000 tourists a year, but by 2016, this number had shot up to 60,000. Do people really want to go see the stupid monkey face that bad? Wow, they were all curious to come and see Monkey Jesus. The church started charging visitors a small entrance fee to view the globally famous artwork, and local businesses started flogging Ecce Mono souvenirs, including pens and mugs and t-shirts and phone cases and beard oils. Excellent, although not sure about those beard oils. It's a bit of competition there. I have a range of beard oils. You can find them linked below. Yes, beardblaze.com. The original fresco was largely considered to be unremarkable and unimportant, but Cecilia's comedy monkey restoration had resurrected the town's economy in a way that the original Jesus could have never managed. The flurry of new merchandise depicting the famous image did present a new, thorny crowned dilemma, though. Who exactly owned the transformed fresco and should benefit financially from the licensing of the new image? I can't imagine that the Russian security guard could ever have claimed any copyright over the three figures painting after he doodled some eyes on the faces. But in this case, the local council ruled that the 16 grandchildren of the original artist owned 51% of the fresco, while Celia Gimenez now owned 49% of it. I kind of get it, but that's kind of amazing. I should go around vandalizing art. At a refreshing angle to the legal batters that neither side was looking to line their own pockets. The Martinez family agreed to donate all of their share to the local hospital foundation, while Celia donates her share to muscular dystrophy charities, as her own son suffers from the condition. That is a super happy ending. So in conclusion, this ridiculous attempt at art restoration evolved into a new tourist attraction which massively boosted the town's economy and continues to raise hundreds of thousands of dollars for good causes. This is compelling evidence that the sad, hairy monkey really does move in mysterious ways. This has been an episode of Brainblaze. Thank you so much for watching. As I mentioned, there are beard oils. Yes, link below. And that's about it. Thanks for watching. Alexander could potentially be looking at either a substantial fine or a 3-month stint in the gulag. Russia doesn't have gulag still, do they?
Duh. Duh.